September 2008. A 158-year-old bank collapsed overnight. $600 billion. Gone. Retirement accounts vanish. Millions lose jobs. But what if I told you the real cause started with a lie so simple you could fit it on a billboard? Why rent when you can own? Cue the upbeat music. It's 2002. America is still nursing a hangover from the dot-com crash. 9/11 just sucker-punched the economy. And Wall Street? Kind of twitchy. But don't worry, the Federal Reserve has a plan. Slash interest rates to basically zero. Boom, money's cheap. Borrowing is easy. And suddenly, everyone's favorite national pastime isn't baseball anymore. It's buying a house. Congratulations, you're approved for $500,000. But we only make $40,000 a year? Not a problem. Adjustable rate. Balloon payment. Ninja loan. Wait, what's a ninja loan? No income, no job, no assets, no problem. See? Back in the early 2000s, homeownership wasn't just a roof and four walls. It was the American dream. It meant stability, status, suburban bliss. And the message being pumped through every ad, billboard, and mortgage seminar was loud and clear. Why rent when you can own? Banks agreed. In fact, they agreed so hard, they started throwing money at people like it was a game show. And everyone was winning. Enter the subprime mortgage. Translation: loans for people with bad credit, unstable income, or just a vague idea of what money even is. Bad credit? No credit? Living in a van? You, sir, qualify for a luxury condo. Should I be worried about paying this back? Not your problem. If you default, we just sell the house for more. It was a housing gold rush, a frenzy. Everyone was buying. Prices skyrocketed. Your neighbor's house doubled in value in 6 months? Normal. Even McDonald's part-timers and baristas with $5 in savings are approved for mortgages. Just a normal day in the 2000s. And the rules, oh, those got launched straight out the window. Traditional lending standards? Too slow. Risk assessments? Too boring. Down payments? Optional. If you had a pulse, you had a mortgage. People bought houses like ramen noodles. Lenders printed loans like monopoly money. Mortgage brokers made commissions faster than they could say bubble. Behind all the buzz was a blind faith that housing prices would always go up, because they always had. Until now. But beneath the open houses and granite countertops, a question lingered. What could possibly go wrong? Spoiler, everything. But we're just getting started. By 2005, buying a house wasn't about stability anymore. It was about flipping it like a pancake and hoping the next buyer paid double. Real estate wasn't shelter. It was a lottery ticket. I teach phonics during the day and buy condos at night. I just bought my third house with zero down. I don't even live in any of them. Here's your latte. Sorry it took a minute. My bank just called and offered me another penthouse in Miami. This wasn't investing. It was a national obsession. Buy, flip, profit, repeat. And the more people joined in, the higher prices soared. The higher they soared, the more people rushed in. It was like trying to put out a fire by throwing gasoline at it, and everyone had a match. But beneath the red-hot exterior? Rot? Those subprime mortgages everyone was gorging on? They were bad, like actually bad. High risk, low documentation, barely verified debt. But Wall Street had a magic trick. They bundled all that junk together, slapped a label on it, and sold it to investors as safe, introducing mortgage-backed securities now with 80% more lies. How do you make toxic loans look like gold? Easy. You get the ratings agencies to call them AAA. This one's got bankrupt baristas and unemployed gym bros. Ah, seems all right. Here's the part they don't put on the brochure. The ratings agencies were getting paid by the banks they were rating. It's like hiring a food critic, then telling them they won't get paid unless they call your raw chicken Michelin-starred. Behind closed doors, the raters knew. This bundle is a sack of shit. But Wall Street wasn't done cooking. They took those shaky mortgage bundles and blended them into something even more complicated. Collateralized debt obligations, or CDOS. Through financial alchemy, garbage loans became investment-grade assets. Actually, not everyone was fooled. A handful of investors, oddballs, skeptics, troublemakers, read the fine print. They saw the rot inside the boom, and instead of buying in, they asked a bold question. What if we bet against it? The problem? There was no product that lets you do that. So they marched into Wall Street's marble fortresses and said, "These loans are garbage. We want to short them. Can you build something that pays us if they go bust? You want to bet against the housing market? That's adorable. Fine. You want insurance? We'll write it. You pay us monthly, and when nothing happens, we pocket the premium. Everyone wins, especially us. I mean, it's not like the whole system's going to collapse, right?" Wall Street smelled easy money. They didn't believe the investors, but they loved the idea of collecting steady fees on something they thought could never fail. So they got to work and cooked up the thing that would eventually blow up the world economy. Credit default swaps. Insurance contracts that paid out if those mortgage-backed investments went bad. The weird thing is, you didn't have to own the investment to buy the insurance. It was like buying life insurance on your neighbor's grandma and rooting for her to slip from the stairs tomorrow. The whole system was a Jenga tower made of lies and leverage. Every block, a bad mortgage. Every layer, a bigger, riskier bet. And at the very top, cheers to another record bonus. Who needs ethics when easy money is flowing? Whistleblowers were ignored, regulators were dozing off. And the people in charge? Too rich to care, too greedy to stop. The party raged on while the floor quietly cracked beneath them. At first, it was a whisper. A missed mortgage here, a foreclosure there, a condo in Vegas sitting empty. But then came the wave. And suddenly, the unthinkable became the headline. Home prices are falling. Housing always goes up. It's basic economics. That's not supposed to happen. For years, the housing market had been a Jenga tower made of lies, leverage, and wild optimism. But in 2007, someone pulled the wrong block. The subprime loans, those risky, rotten deals wrapped in financial tinsel, started to implode. And the mortgage-backed securities built on them? Yeah, they were ticking time bombs. And they exploded. Banks that had stuffed their portfolios with safe assets suddenly realized they were holding radioactive garbage. The AAA-rated bundles? Actually financial plutonium. We can't sell this junk, then mark it to zero. But that means, yeah, we're screwed. Panic spread like wildfire. Hedge funds, bleeding, investment banks, slashing billions in losses. And then, boom. Lehman Brothers, a 158-year-old institution, gone. No bailout, no hero. Just a $600 billion crater in the middle of Wall Street. The message was clear. If Lehman can die, anyone can. Overnight, banks stopped lending to each other. Credit markets froze solid. It was like someone yanked the power cord on the global economy. I need a loan to make payroll. Sorry? No liquidity? What does that even mean? It means we're closed. Good luck. Everything jammed. Families couldn't get mortgages. Businesses couldn't make payroll. Investors couldn't cash out. Retirees watched their pensions evaporate in real time. 401ks, toast, life savings, gone, job market, vaporized. By late 2008, it was full collapse mode. Millions unemployed. Foreclosures through the roof. Eviction notices stacked like junk mail. Soup kitchens, places where food is offered to the hungry and homeless, couldn't keep up. Unemployment offices looked like disaster relief camps. This wasn't just Wall Street burning, this was Main Street in freefall, and it didn't stop at the U.S. border. Iceland's major banks collapse. Tokyo stocks plummet. European leaders scrambled to respond. From London to Reykjavik, Tokyo to Sao Paulo, markets crashed. Banks buckled, global economies spiraled. The question was no longer who's next. It was, is the entire system broken? The Great Recession had officially begun. The U.S. government had one impossible choice: let it all burn or throw billions of taxpayer dollars to the very guys who lit the match. In October 2008, they picked the latter. I need $700 billion. For what? To shovel into burning banks before the whole thing explodes. Enter TARP, the Troubled Asset Relief Program. Basically, they were giving Wall Street a $700 billion pillow to fall on. Why? Because the banks were too big to fail. Let them collapse and they'd take down the global economy. So the government did what it had to do. They started chucking money out of helicopters. Seriously, loans, bailouts, stock purchases. It didn't matter what form it took. If your balance sheet had smoke coming out of it, Uncle Sam brought the fire hose. But it wasn't just banks getting the golden treatment. AIG, the insurance giant that bet trillions on garbage, got over $180 billion in aid. Even GM and Chrysler, the car companies, got $80 billion. It was triage on a scale no one had seen since the Great Depression. Meanwhile, over at the Fed, Ben Bernanke was busy rewriting the rules of economics with a money cannon. Interest rates? Sliced to near zero. Borrowing? Basically free. And then came the big one, quantitative easing, which means the Fed started printing money out of thin air to buy bonds and mortgage junk. Think of it as patching the Titanic with $100 bills. Don't worry, let me cook. And guess what? It kinda worked. Markets calmed down, banks unclenched, the stock market bottomed out in March 2009 and started crawling back. Wall Street exhaled. But Main Street? Still choking on smoke. The aftermath was brutal. Unemployment hit 10%. 8 million jobs gone. 4 million homes foreclosed. $19 trillion in household wealth vanished. Families that had never missed a payment suddenly owed more on their homes than the homes were worth. And people were pissed. Wall Street bonuses are back. I just got evicted. And they get a bonus? The people who caused the collapse got bailed out? The people who lived through it got pink slips and food stamps? Wall Street popped champagne. Main Street stood in line for soup. And then came the rage. 2011. Zuccotti Park, New York City. Thousands gather. Tents, drums, cardboard signs. One reads, "We are the 99%. It wasn't just about bailouts anymore. It was about a system rigged to protect the powerful. Privatized profits, socialized losses, and a total absence of justice. No major Wall Street CEO went to jail. No handcuffs. No perp walks. Just golden parachutes and quiet retirements. The system survived. But trust? Burned to the ground. A generation grew up knowing, when the banks mess up, they get rescued. When you mess up, you get wrecked. Because if 2008 taught us anything, it's that the next crisis doesn't look like the last one. It looks harmless, profitable, inevitable, until it isn't.